Welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. I'm excited to be here with you this morning. This is the strategic warm-up that makes the rest of your week hit harder. Hot takes, bold moves, and business unfiltered. I am Colleen Stubbs, the founder of Simplified CEO Systems, and I help midlife entrepreneurs simplify their business so that they can lead with clarity instead of chaos. Today's guest, Monsongo Moukwa, and we're diving into how to grow your business without losing control. Mosongo will be sharing with us his unique perspective on how business owners can make courageous, clear decisions that create growth without the chaos or the burnout. You're going to walk away with real strategy, real perspective, and probably a few uncomfortable truths because growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. So welcome to Monday Morning Business Foreplay. Mosongo, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Colleen. My name is Mosongo Moukwa. I work with capable small business owners who have, the revenue solid on paper, but they have this persistent feeling of stagnation. So I work with them to help them reignite with their purpose, and at the same time help them redesign their business so that they could focus on what is really driving revenue. And finally, for them to focus on the life that business was meant to support.
I love that. And so many times I think that we spend our time doing tasks. We're always busy, right? Always busy doing things in our business. But the key is to do things that actually move the needle in our business. So I think this session is going to be great. Go ahead and give us your presentation, if you will, Mosongo. And then if anybody that has questions, you can either drop them in the chat or hold them till the end. When he's done, we will be happy to take those questions.
Yeah, thank you, Colleen. Let me first start with some government statistics. More than 98% of small businesses, they have less than 100 employees. What does that mean? That means that the vast majority operate in that modest scale, serving their community, supporting families, and sustaining livelihood without ever building large teams. So for many of them, staying small is a conscious choice, not a constraint, but a way to preserve agility and independence. But only 0.1% of US businesses ever reach 50 million or more in annual revenue. So that's not a failure, right? That's not a failure rate. It is just a reflection that hyper growth is really the exception, not the norm. So for many, the goal is not to become big, but it's build something meaningful, manageable, and aligned with their value.
Yeah, those are staggering results, huh? Or statistics, I should say. That's very interesting. I don't tend to think in numbers that big.
That is the reality, but not every small business owner dream of scaling. And that's also what we should mention here, but almost every one of them wants more. They want more clarity. They want more freedom. They want more alignment. So growth is really, at its core, a kind of alchemy, if I could use that expression. It's really the transformation of time, energy, and the belief into something more valuable. So really that's what it is. And the raw material is not just your business. It's actually you the owner, you the small business owners.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think that especially for midlife entrepreneurs, the clarity, the growth, the time freedom really to create, like you were saying earlier, the life that we want. And I think that when we get our business aligned correctly, then we're able to explore other options, explore building the life that we want, right? But it is absolutely getting that alignment and getting the clarity that we need and what we should be doing.
Yes, absolutely, Nicole, and you're absolutely right. And this is what I see in those small business owners I work with. But the question, let's pose the question: why do most businesses stay small? That's really what it is. Yeah, is it a lack of capital? Is it fear of failure? Is it the fear of complexity? So I think the truth is a bit nuanced, so, because really many owners, they make that deliberate choice to stay within some size that could be manageable, meaningful, So that's what they're looking for. The trade-off for scaling, it just feels too costly for them, But for others, for them, growth, it's fear, fear of losing freedom, burning out, dreaming from purpose. Growth becomes then like a loaded word. Growth, me? Who? What you talking about? But really, it doesn't need to be that way, because when growth is aligned with your values, it stops feeling like a burden, and start really acting more as a tool, one that will enhance your life. It will help you sharpen your clarity, and perhaps it will deepen your impact, actually. So when it's done right, I feel that growth actually reinforces what matters most.
I think that, like you were saying, I think it's the fear of success that actually holds people back. And part of that, of course, is going to be the fear that they have to put in more effort, the fear that it's going to take more self-discipline, the fear that they're going to have to step up into self-leadership first before they can actually lead a team. There are a lot of fears that go into the fear of success. But once again, when you have that aligned, and you have clarity in what needs done, what you need to do, the actual steps to take, then you get the freedom that comes from having success. And I think that I sit on both sides of those because I really had to have clarity and alignment in order to build my business the way that I want. I'm one of the few people that doesn't want to scale astronomically, right? I'm very content with one client for one of my offers each month and 3 clients for my other offer each month. That's a very happy place for me. As a business owner, I've decided that I quit working Thursday afternoon at 3 o'clock and I don't start again until 4 a.m. on Monday. And so that's not ideal for everybody, but for me, I built my business around that because I built my business to equal the time freedom and the life that I want.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, there are a number of dimension there. You have the emotional side, you have the logic side, and so on. So if you take, for example, the logic side, for that, so which is not the logic, the emotional logic. Let's call it that way. So there is this quiet conviction that says, well, this is enough. I remember a few years ago, I met a small business owner, Maya, at a retreat, and she was running a business that was, one-woman branding studio, and she was extremely gifted, and the client just loved her, and so on. The referrals coming in. So on paper, she had everything she needed to scale. The talent, the demand, opportunity. In fact, a larger agency even offered her out, or partner with her. But over dinner one night, she had something that just struck with me. She said, if I say yes to this, I am not too sure I will like who I have to become. So that was really something that clicked on me because it was not fear. It was more clarity because she built her business to reclaim time, creativity, her connection, not to manage layers of processes, people. So for her, staying small was never a fallback plan. It was the plan. It was the point. But yet, she still grew, not in headcount, but in revenue, and not in status, but in depth. So she raised the prices and so on. So Maya's story told me that growth is not about proving something to the world. It's really about building something you can live inside of. So I thought I will just share with the audience that particular story.
I love that. And I think that it brings out really an important point, and that is this: we're not building a business for the world. We need to make sure that as we build a business, that our business is personable. So as we build our business, we need to make sure that we're absolutely building it to fortify and sustain the life that we want, not taking into consideration how it looks to the world, but more focused on the clients that we have, on serving them, on making sure that we're providing the best product or service, whatever that looks like, really refining that to meet the needs of our immediate clients. And I think that so many entrepreneurs get lost in the online world space when they're trying to do all the things that the world tells them to do online. Does that make sense? So when they're wanting to do it the way the world says to do it, if that's posting content so many times, if that's creating so many different products, if that's tiering things exactly a certain way, whatever that looks like, we need to scale that back and make sure that we have clarity and alignment, and we're building it to fortify and sustain the lifestyle that we want and doing it our way. That also brands it as ours.
Yes, yes, absolutely, Colin, and you nailed it. Actually, this is another dimension which deals with the lifestyle and value alignment. So, for many entrepreneurs, the business is not just a means, living. It's a way to live in alignment with their value. It gives them freedom, flexibility, a sense of control over their time, energy, profit, and so on. So that's why the idea of scaling can sometimes feel risky. It's not just about managing growth, but it's about guarding what matters most. So I think in those moments, perhaps fear then is not about failure. It's more about the risk of drifting away from the very life the business was meant to support. If I could flip it like that, there was this bistro gentleman who captured that for me years ago very well. He said something to the effect. He said, "People say I should open a second location, but then I started to do this work I'm there with my family. So if growth pulls me away from that, what is the point?" So I felt that really encapsulated the idea of lifestyle and value alignment. That's why this idea of growth or not growth, it's really it has its complexity. It's multidimensional, if I could say so.
I would agree with that. And I think that when we're looking at growing our business in alignment with the lifestyle that we want, and I love that example that you gave us because I felt that way too. How is it that we can, what do the decision patterns look like? How is it that we get to the point where we're consistently making the right decisions for growth? We all have decisions we've been avoiding making for whatever reason, but how do we get or create a decision pattern that supports the growth we want while also supporting the alignment and the clarity?
Yes. I think it's essentially it deals with the future self. So I think we have to be in alignment with what we think is our future self. So what I mean by that is really how connected are you with your future self? So you make better decision when your future feels real. So to give an example, if you are seeing yourself as somebody who is physically fit and so on, so that means that your action today will be step by step trying to take you to that future self, if you will. So it really, when that future becomes real, that's really what I believe is the key. So if your future still feels distant or something abstract, then it's very easy to default to short-term fixes, especially in business. That's why getting to know your future self is not just about it's not just a mindset exercise. It's really a strategy for long-term leadership. So one really has to try to see, this is my current self, that was my past self, this is the future self that I could visualize, and now I want to step into that future self because I could see it, I could connect with it. So if that future self helps you, and the way to grow will help you get there, then now you have that alignment.
I would agree with that. And I think that Oh gosh, that just opens up so many things for me. One of the things that I read this weekend when I was scrolling social media is that you never truly become your future self. Even if you're successful, especially if you're successful, you never become your future self. And this is why. Because right now, today, let's say that I want to be that person that has my business at X amount of dollars. I want to be in a certain physical shape. So today, I start taking on the activities that that future self has. And so I create those habits and I implement those decisions and I start making those changes now. And then what happens is those continue to grow. So even when I reach the point that 3 years ago was my future self, now my vision has grown, right? And so I'm not at my future self yet because I'm continuing the process of staying in alignment, of implementing clarity and really embracing it and putting into play, building the habits that are sustainable to become my future self. And the future is continually moving away from us. And so we never quite become that person.
Yeah.
But the first step, of course, is the clarity and alignment. And then to always make sure that we're acting as if we already are. And
Yes,
I
yes,
know
no.
so many people say, well, that gives you imposter syndrome, or that creates like a sense of you're so much better than you actually are. It actually doesn't. There's a lot of learning that goes along the process.
Yes, yes,
And so if you get up and act as if you're a successful business owner, meaning you show up the way that they would show up, you attend the meetings, you come in with the same energy, the same charisma, no matter whether there's one person, 10 people, or 10,000 in the audience, that is building for the future. You're
yeah,
showing up for one person the same as you would for 10,000
yeah, yeah,
doesn't mean you're pretending.
yeah.
It means you're working your way there.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. That is a great insight, and that's what that's what I share with a small business owner. For example, this owner here, Malik. Malik was a third generation manufacturer, so he was deep in burnout. You know, his company was stable, profitability was great, but then, you know, every win felt like a hollow, you know, he was not satisfied. You know, he used to say, I'm the one who turns off the alarm at 6 a.m. and I stay until the last truck pulls out. You know, he knew that it was not sustainable. But stepping back, it was like giving up, in a way. But and this is what many small owners they feel, you know, because they have built something with their own hand. They did not just they don't just fear change, but they fear losing part of themselves. You know, that identity that was there that they feel is irreplaceable. You know, is it's present, is reliable. But that same strength had become actually a bottleneck. So when I met Malik, we did not just start with a business strategy, but we started with meaning. So we reframed growth not as an abandonment, but as a stewardship. So that's why the connection to that future self there, you are steward of that future self and you are trying to move towards there. So what if letting go was not a failure, but leadership? So that the question that I raised to him, I say, well, what if building systems and trusting others was how actually you were honoring the legacy that you had inherited? So that really shifted Manik's view. Then he began to train the operation managers to lead. He took a real vacation for the first time. And then within 6 months, he wasn't just managing less, he was actually leading more, you know, mapping out 5-year plan, expansion, and so on. And then by the end of that year, he actually crossed almost, in his case, if I remember, 750 mark, which was the strongest growth in more than a decade, you know, that gave him energy. He was now encouraged to reinvest more and so on. So that's really what some of the business owners are going through. And that's why, Colin, as you were talking there, that reconnection with your self-continuity, actually, it allows you to grow. So that's really what I I can add on the comment you just made earlier.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that that takes me back to this morning. I got up and was on LinkedIn and I saw 3 posts, and not one right after another, but 3 within 30 minutes probably, that all talked about self-leadership first. And what does that mean? One of the things that that talks about is how to remove a task, right, that you still control that no longer needs you, and learning the difference of what needs you, your personal touch is what I mean by that, and what just needs done. And so self-leadership is being able to define those two and then automate or delegate the ones that need done but don't need your personal touch. And when you do this, when you refine that process inside your business, guess what happens? The people watching you, your team, your clients, they also learn how to do that, right? And it is giving up control to gain freedom. And that's important. And so I have a question for you,
Yes.
Mosongo. Let's see. What motivated you to start this line of business? This question's coming to you from Murray Cox.
Well, I I spent many years in corporate, and I was torn between corporate, the safety of corporate, and entrepreneurship. So at some point, I decided to leap and then go fully into entrepreneurship. So without parachute, without any roadmap. So I failed in a number of my first ventures. But through those struggles, actually, those struggles became breakthrough for me. So I realized 3 things. I realized that you need number one, you need to have that connection to your purpose, and then once you have that, then we can develop a framework around your business, looking at what really is driving your revenue, and then the third component is that you need to sustain that performance in terms of creating the right leadership capabilities, your own energy. You need to build a relationship outside your business. So what I find is that when you have those 3 aligned, then you're really firing all your cylinders. Now, why I'm doing this is because I went through I went through difficulty creating businesses. Initially, I failed, but then I was successful in creating them. I'm doing this to share this to small business owners so that they don't repeat, and they don't repeat some of the mistakes that I went through. So I can hold their hand, and then we can go through those struggles together. Because developing those businesses, as some of the people out there, it's a lonely proposition. You sometimes don't have a mentor. You are lonely. You have self-doubt. You're not too sure whether actually you are deserving some of the things that you're doing. You reach a point where you are beginning to take less risk and so on. So I've gone through that path, and what I'm doing is then trying then from my experience, from my own research and reading around the subject. I'm trying to share that with the small business owners so that they could become also successful. So that's what is motivating me. And finally, I have a strong belief that actually God put us on this earth with talent, resources, not just for our own flourishing, but also in the service of others.
I love that, Mosongo. And I want to say too that I feel like you use the word stewardship, and I love that because I think as entrepreneurs, we all have a stewardship, not only to our future self, but to our clients, over the delivery line to our clients, right?
Yes,
That is our stewardship to take them from where they are to where we have promised or said that we will take them, right? That's our stewardship. And we need to take that as a sacred responsibility and really with integrity. And that is huge in building the foundation of your business. Now, you also talked about failures. And, I love talking about failures because I've never felt like I've failed. I feel like failure is whatever you make of it, right? And so if if you fail, which we all fail, we all have things, systems, processes, whatever, that fail. It's what you do with that. And so if you take your failure and you don't let it hold you back, you don't let that time that you failed reduce the times that you take risk, but rather you dissect it, you look at it, you
Yes,
decide that this failure is now going to become a stepping stone. I've pulled out the important lessons and I'm going to apply those lessons as I move forward and take more risk with my business and elevate it to an even higher standard.
yes,
Without those failures, you don't get to that higher standard point.
yes, yes,
And so it is
yes,
an essential. If
yes,
any entrepreneur, any person is told you have to fail 99 times before you're going to succeed big time in the way that you want to succeed, what
yes,
are you
yes,
going to do? Are you going to choose to be the person who sits and stews because you're failing? And by golly, it's the 63rd time you failed in a row. Or are you going to keep failing as quick and hard and fast as you can to get to number 100 so you're succeeding? And that's
yes.
a choice we make daily as an entrepreneur.
Yes, 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 yes. Absolutely, Colin. And you, it's. We have to look at it as a journey. You know, you have to look at it as a journey, and then through that journey, you'll find some stumbling blocks, just like in life. You'll find some stumbling blocks and whatnot. You bounce, you fall, and Mandela said it very very well. He said courage is not the lack of fear, huh? But it is about moving ahead despite fear. You still move ahead even when the ground is shaky. And I think the key, you put it well, is that what are the lessons that we are getting out of those experiences that we can apply, and then the next step, you build that experience. You keep on putting that experience in your bank and so on. So now you can draw, you can see pattern, you can see, oh, now I have a new idea, I have this, I have that. No, that is a very good point.
I love that,
Uh,
Mosongo. My mom always said, put it on your experience account. So
yes,
pretend like you have a bank account and some things go in your experience account, others go
yes,
as credits in the actual bank account. So
yes,
let's
yes,
talk a little bit about how we can create a new revenue stream from customers that we already have. So instead of taking on more tasks, instead of more procedures, how can we create a new revenue stream for a customer that we already have? Or how can we expand the services within the structure that we already have?
yes. With the customer that you have, first of all, the customer that you have, those are the people you have to maintain. It's very difficult if you lose your current customer to get them back, as it is for you to go and look for new customers. So what you have, your customers, hey, these are your jewel, you need to manage them appropriately. So that's number one. So what do you do with them? There are many ways that you can improve revenue with them. One is that you can look at the price, for example. You can look at the price. I know people fear increasing prices. I remember many years ago, I was in some chemical company, and we were so afraid to raise any price, by $1 or two or so on those on those products, because we said, oh, they will never take it, they will never do that. And then when we looked at them, we saw that some of our major customers, actually, they were buying maybe 40% of our products. And then we raised the price slightly without making a lot of noise, and they did not come and complain. So that told us that actually we were charging less all along. But what has happened is that first of all, because they were big customers, so the impact of that slight increase had a very outsized impact. So that was one. So it was much more than we expected. Now, did we lose other customers? Yes, we did. We did some, but perhaps maybe those ones should never have been our customer in the first place. So in total, then it turned out that actually our revenue increased, even though we lost a few customers there and there. So that's one approach. The other approach is that we really need to understand, staying on the topic of price. Price, as I like to say, is really it's a hypothesis. You put it there, you test it out. That's why when we go to store, we see the prices changing and whatnot. It's changing because they're trying to sense where are those customers are going. So don't be afraid to experiment when it makes sense. as far as your prices. So that's number one. Number two, you need to look at your offering. You may be thinking, oh, these customers, I put those muffins there, I have croissant here, but the people don't seem to buy my croissant, they're buying my muffin. Well, and my market research, supposedly, I thought they would be buying my muffin and whatnot. Well, it gives you a chance now to readjust. So now you have gotten feedback to your regular customers. Now you know, hey, they're moving more towards croissant, so you can see that. Another element you can do is to look at bundling products, compliments. When you go to the movie, they tell you, oh, if you buy a soda, $5. I mean, it's now around that price, $5. You buy a popcorn, they say $6. But then if you buy soda and popcorn, if you buy them individually, it's $11. But if you buy them as a package, it's $10. In the mind of the customer, it's like, oh man, it's cheaper than if I buy them individually. Well, it's only $1, but it doesn't click in their psychology. So then all of a sudden you begin to buy more those compliments, those bundling. So you can think of bundling products, and many companies actually they do it extremely well, particularly the big companies. So these are some of the approaches that that one can employ there. I hope I'm answering your question, Colleen.
I think you are. And I think too that back on the topic of maintaining the clients that we have, one of the things that I've learned is to give value along the journey. So maybe instead of having 15 lead magnets, you have 15 resources that your clients need. And when that comes up in their journey with you, go ahead and pull those out and offer those and give them for free just as added value, right? So outside of the product or service they're paying for. And then also I feel like when it comes to offering more for them, when they continue on their journey, you can become a value or stay a valuable asset to them when they've outgrown what you're doing, when you have a good referral system in place where you can send them for the next step in their journey or the next thing that they're trying to accomplish. Or if it's something that's just pushes the boundaries on what you do, then learn and grow with them and offer that further. So maybe a new product or service that is extended into a new area that you're also learning with them. Maybe you didn't know it was needed until they say, what about this? And then you can go look at that, right?
Yes. You're absolutely right, Colleen, because you have to continually provide value to them. And value is not always something material. Value could be knowing their first name. Value could be knowing that, hey, they just had their kid being baptized, So have that conversation with the people. I mean, the Starbucks I go to here, these people there, they know my name. Whenever I go there, they say, oh, Mr. Mosongo, you the same thing and whatnot. I feel good when I go there. I mean, I don't want to go anywhere else where I'm like anonymous, at that point. So those are subtle things that are there that we sometimes forget. Those customers are also human beings. They're looking for that human connection. Apart from just buying the product, they're looking for that, That's why when you go to Chick-fil-A and you're lining up there, those young people there, they are greeting you very nicely and whatnot. You feel good, man. You go there, you wait in the drive. The young lady comes with a bag of your Chick-fil-A, gives it to you by the window and so on. All those things are subtle things, but it makes the customer feel that he's being valued, So those are the things that people have to be sensitive to as well.
I think that's a great point because we are all emotional purchasers. We purchase based on some sort of emotion. We feel good when we do it. We feel anxiety, which drives us to do it. Somehow there's an emotion that is tied to our purchases. And so that brings up something Nicole and I love to talk about, and that is the importance of building relationships. Like you said, if their child's being baptized, if it's their birthday, if they've reached 3 years with a company, just reaching out to them, acknowledging who they are, stating their name. People love to hear their name, stating their name, acknowledging whatever is going on in their life. But really, those things help build a relationship. And people are less likely to leave your business if they have a good relationship with you. And so those are essential. So this has been powerful, Mosongo. I appreciate it. I would love to open this up for any audience questions. So if you're facing something specific in your business right now, now is the time to get a specific answer. So you can either drop it in the chat or we can just raise our hands. So if anybody has any questions, now's the time. Beverly, why don't you go ahead?
Hey,
Hi,
Beverly.
hi,
Hey, Beverly.
Mosongo.
Good to see
And
you.
I didn't know Mosongo was going to be here today, so I didn't come just to see you, Mosongo. However, can you give some insight about how does a person determine what their true purpose is in life? You mentioned purpose, and I was wondering if you had any insights to share for anyone who might be confused or not sure.
Yes, I think one can try to go back maybe in time. Huh? You have to look at for example, what are some of the books that really impacted you in your youth or adult life? For me, there are two books that really impacted me, which I studied when I was in high school, but I still remember today. One was in high school we study the French book Le Petit Prince, the Little Prince, and whatnot. That gave me the sense of traveling, adventure. That's why I traveled in many countries, and I ended up here in the U.S. There was another book which was a play by a Romanian writer, Ionescu, and he wrote the book was a Rhinoceros. So that was the protagonist was a fellow called Béranger. So they were in a kind of a period that was fascism and so on. And then all the people who aligned themselves with the fascists, they turned into rhinoceros, except Béranger. So that was the idea. So you begin to do that, and then you're also beginning to start thinking in terms of tomorrow. What I would like people to say about me. If you are there and people are saying your eulogy, what would you like them to say about you? What would you like them to remember about you? So those are some of the clues that will help you. Then you sit down and say, what are those values that I really aspire to, and then you list them down. And then you'll see as you're beginning to reflect upon those, you begin slowly to really think of, this is who I am. This is really what I would like to do, this is the kind of things that I would like to be remembered for. This is, at the end, this is what my purpose is. So these are just some clues there, perhaps that could help.
Yeah, I would take it a little bit further. Mosongo, I'll take it from there and say that I like to tell my clients this. Let's imagine for a second that you just got back from vacation. You had all your family and loved ones there with you, and you did all the things. You really had a good time. And now you're back and everybody's going their separate ways. You all need a little bit of a break from each other. And so you're in your separate homes and you wake up in the morning and you need something to do. Your friends, your loved ones, they're all taken care of financially. They're all doing their thing. You just had a great vacation with them. What's the one thing that you would go and do? What's the one thing that you would get up and keep doing for free every day because it drives you?
Yes.
Because once you're doing that in your business, when you take that thing and you make that your business, it becomes easy for you. You're passionate about it. It's easy to talk about. It's easy to share with other people. It's easy to create content. It's easy to create tips and tricks and products around it because you know it so well and you know what people need from it. And then you're no longer working. Then you're actually living a life that you love and monetizing it.
Yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right. What can you do today that you can do 24/7, 365 days without even being paid? That really you feel like this is me. This is I was born to do this thing here.
Yes.
So that's really what it is. Yeah.
Sarah,
All
I have
right.
a question.
Sarah, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Am I
Hello.
unmuted? Yes.
Hi. Thank you so much. I feel that anyone that has read Le Petit Prince is on the right track. I love that book. I've read it in 3 different languages, and every time I go to read it, I mean, I get so much out of it every time. So there you go.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
Thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it. And I don't so much have a question, but I want to say that I study Bob Proctor, and so about the self, the future
Hmm.
self-image that we have
Yes,
of ourselves, it
yes,
is definitely very important,
yes,
and I
yes,
follow that every single day.
yes,
And I also want to say that sometimes we cannot have the business that aligns with us, that with our values, or
hmm,
we don't even have a business. We might have
hmm,
to do a job
hmm,
because let's face it, it's
hmm,
life and we need money to put for the food on the table and all of that.
yes,
and
yes,
and so I also feel that it's important that we don't forget that sometimes our values, we may live them differently. For example, I volunteer every single week, and it's
yes,
something that
yes,
really fulfills me, and it helps to, when work isn't exactly how we want it.
yes,
I think it balances it out. I don't
yes,
know if you have any thoughts on that, but I just want to say that I'm all
yeah,
for creating our business the way we want, and exactly how we want to live it. But when
yes,
it's not
yes.
possible, how can we turn that around? Thank you.
Yes, no, this is a great question. What you're saying is that we can live our value differently than within the business. That's what you're saying. But what I would like to submit with you is that if you want to sustain that business, then you ought to at some point to connect it with your value or one of them. There must be like an anchor there that will keep you going to do what you're doing. So in that case, then that business is not just a job. It becomes now something that you're doing. You're doing it because you want to service your community. You're doing it because you want to leave a legacy. It's not just this is a job. I'm just selling bread here and then move on. You see what I mean? Because then if you anchor it that way, then it allows you to be more creative. It gives you energy when you come there in the morning, and then your customer will sense it. You know, because when I go to store, I could sense whether people there are doing this as a job, whether in fact they actually enjoying what they are doing there at the checkout counter or mopping the floor and whatnot. So I think if you connect it with something that is slightly deeper, it will allow you to ride to take that journey for a long time with more energy, you know, with more ideas, more innovation and so on. But obviously your values you can apply to other area other than business. Absolutely.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Thank you, everybody, for participating in the Q&A. Before we wrap up, Mosongo, I have a few questions for you. I have
Okay.
3 questions, and we're going to try to keep them to a minute each because we do have other things going on. First question. Are you ready?
Okay.
That was a trick question. That wasn't the first question. Okay. Here's the first question. What's the one thing everybody in your industry is doing that you think is complete BS, and why are they still doing it?
Hmm. That they're still doing that is I think they are confusing growth with the strategy. Because growth is not just about adding more strategy or working harder. It's more really it's about becoming the kind of leader for your next level of business. Yeah? So that's really what I think.
I like that. Good answer. Okay. What is one mistake that you made that cost you serious money or time that you kept making anyways because you were too proud or too scared to admit that it was not working?
Yeah, one when I went into entrepreneurship the first time, I thought I knew it all. I thought I knew it all. You know, I had this successful career in corporate, many things. So I thought I knew it all. So there is a bit of arrogance in me, or I don't know if it's arrogance is the right term, but I thought, I can do it on my own. So I tried to blast through. It did not work. I still did not come to the realization. I continued to blast through and so on. Until I realized, I say, no, I need to put my ego to the side and reach out to other people who have been successful, meeting them, learning about them, talking with customers, trying to understand what is really driving them, what are the things that is draining them. When I came to that realization, then things got much better, because then I was able to have now, this product doesn't fit here, Whereas in the beginning, all the things of trying in retrospect, there was no product market fit there. That's why they failed. I was not mentally, I was not prepared to start creating partnership, or seeking out advice and so on. So this is a mistake that I made early on. I learned from them from it ever since. So
That's good. Then it becomes part of your foundation, right?
yes.
Okay, so number 3, if you could only give one piece of advice to someone in your industry, but it would go completely against the grain, what would it be?
If I have to give an advice
That goes against what everybody else believes.
well, I would say people believe that for you to grow, that it's people tend to separate growth with really what their purpose is. The purpose could be helping their community, helping leaving a legacy, and so on and so on. People tend to focus more, I need to make the numbers, I need to make the numbers, I need to make the numbers. And I find that most of the time there is a dissonance there. So if you come and begin to talk to them about purpose, they think you are woo-woo, what are you talking about? Touchy-feely and whatnot. When in fact, all those elements, they actually are the core of what we are trying to achieve.
Very good. Very good. I would agree with that. All right. Mosongo, do you have like a lead magnet that's evergreen or anything else you want us to drop in the chat to share with everybody?
Yes. Yes. Okay. I did not know you were going to do this over LinkedIn. Okay, so this is
I
Zoom
did
here.
share your just a heads up. I did share your LinkedIn and your website on here. Is there something else? I'll grab it for you, Monsongo, if you like.
Okay, Nicole, my last league magnet when you were hosting, I think if
Sure.
you have it there, that would be great.
I'll see if I can find that real quick.
Yeah. That will be.
Sure.
I think that will be something will be useful. Or the CEO hack,
Yes.
that conference, that will be great. Yes.
That would be good. And then that's evergreen, right? So we can share it everywhere and people will be able...
Yeah, absolute. That's for free for people to take their read. Hopefully, it will give them some insight or reflection and so on.
Great.
Yes.
And I'll post it with the replay. I'll also share it on YouTube and everywhere else that we share this. So this has been Monday Morning Business Foreplay. If today's conversation helped you see something differently, make one clearer decision, or take one meaningful step forward, then this hour did exactly what it was designed to do. Because clarity creates momentum, and momentum beats motivation every time. Huge thank you, Monsongo, for sharing your experience and your perspective with us. If you found value in this conversation, please share it. Tag someone who needs to hear it or invite them to join us next week. I will be posting the replays on YouTube and also in my Facebook group.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Colleen. Thank you for having me here. I appreciate that.